and Tokens, as well as Brian from Block the Centrum. Welcome, you guys.
Yeah,
Yo,
it's
yo,
absolutely glad to
guys,
be
what's
here.
up? What's up? For everyone who's watching the stream, what's up? What's in the house? What's in the hizzy house? I'm just kidding. I'm being ridiculous right now. It's been a wonderful Tuesday. Right, guys?
Sure has
Yes,
been.
indeed.
So, what's kind of been happening this week? I've kind of been a little out of touch with reality, especially since yesterday I decided to take a tour class for the first time. And I decided to do the dance for my sister on WhatsApp and pulled my hammy. So I've been in bed all day. So I haven't been in touch with reality too much, although I know a little bit what's going on in this space, but not too much. Last I heard, the world was on fire, right? Is that still happening?
The world is still on fire.
Oh, okay. So I haven't missed much. But anyways, get into some of these topics for today. What do we have for today in versus topics?
Announcements, announcements, and more announcements. So where do you want to start? I mean,
So let's
first out.
start with actually, I saw you in Facebook Horizons. Is there any updates with that? I'd actually like to know because I'm not a fan of Facebook Horizons that much, but it's okay.
So Facebook Horizons is pretty cool. There's a lot of different little mini games. I got to play around with some puzzle the other day. That was pretty neat. Not a lot of people, but it's still in the beta phase, and I went in late at night, so not surprising. But it's interesting. I could see the path that they're aiming for is more like Rec Room as opposed to Altspace.
Okay, I guess so. I saw that there's people that are starting to do like now you're saying Altspace, but I thought of Rec Room. I saw people were doing like meetings and meetups in there, and someone was doing a live stream from there the other day. I thought that was kind of funny. I didn't know they did that in Rec Room. Weird environment to do that, in my opinion.
Not
I don't know.
something that's typical, especially because of the amount of little kids that are running around in Rec Room. But yeah, I saw
Right.
somebody did an interview in Rec Room and live streamed it. So I guess that's cool, and there's more people that are getting together in virtual reality and interviewing and doing more business mindset things in the virtual space.
So here's a question, because we haven't talked about this yet. How do we feel about the new Oculus Quest that was officially announced?
That's what I was just going to go into. So the announcement is technically tomorrow, but we got a bunch of leaks recently and got to see pictures of the new Oculus Quest 2. I think it looks good. It's really, really slim. It looks like they cut about 30% of the Quest, and it looks so clean. It looks like we have a question. If you have a question, go ahead to ask questions button, and we will open the floor.
Yeah, yep. Can I ask a question?
Go
Yeah, no,
for it.
go for it.
Does it have like a new chipset or is it using the Snapdragon again?
It is
Right.
on a newer chipset, so it's not like it's a
Oh,
yes, it's not like it's a Quest Pro or a slight bump. No, it's a huge difference.
that's great. That is the best news I've heard all day.
You know what I
So
don't like though? The color.
how are they keeping the price down if they're like bumping up the
The
CPU? It's
same
like
way Amazon and well, I wouldn't say Apple, but the same way Amazon made the Kindle so abundant and cheap. Amazon did not make any money from the physical Kindle sales. Those tablets that they were pretty much
yep.
giving away for free, they were just giving them out. They
I
made no
remember
money
those.
back from that. The money that they made in profit was due to the sales of the applications.
Yeah.
Facebook understands that they're going to pull in that 30% for every game that everybody uses with this. So selling this and making even $100 back is all they need. They know that they're going to reap in thousands of dollars more once you get your headset. So selling it at $299, if that's the official price, we'll find out tomorrow, is going to be a steal. It's a no-brainer to get an Oculus Quest 2.
That's
Yeah.
a
Yep.
pretty good strategy, actually.
Um,
Like
yeah.
Xbox and PlayStation doesn't do that because they already have the clientele. There's not a lot of VR clientele. That's smart.
Absolutely, and I mean, there's a bit of people out there that want to be able to use more virtual reality headsets and not be stuck in the Oculus realm. But even people that are looking at like the Reverb 2 by HP and some of these other headsets that are out there, people are all
Mhm.
just going, yo, why buy a headset anymore? I might as well just wait for the Quest 2. It's pretty much like since we've gotten these leaks that the sales of Oculus and of all VR headsets have pretty much frozen.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Okay, and
crazy.
just another really quick question. I've also been hearing from everybody that it's mandatory that you have to have a Facebook account. Is that right?
Unfortunately, yes, you will not be able to
That is
use the
right.
new headset or any of the apps without a Facebook
Ah,
account.
seriously. Okay.
That is a bummer, but you know,
Yeah.
it's what you get. We
Yeah.
figured that
You
this
get
day
what
would
you
come
get.
one day. I'm not certain how much longer we're going to be able to get around Facebook. They're
Yeah.
really hammering down, especially with side quests. We might be seeing a death nail to the side quest environment for
Oh,
anybody
that
that's
was the biggest
watching
nail to
this
my
and
heart.
yeah, that's a big nail to the coffin. So for anybody that doesn't know what SideQuest is, you're just tuning in. SideQuest is a store that you can utilize from your phone, your computer, and be able to upload virtual reality games to your Oculus Quest that aren't available on the Quest store. They are going to be looking to block any external devices, and basically they want to have their own non-Oculus store, but it's a store for you to install on it, like games that are in alpha or beta. So basically they want all app developers to go through the Oculus store and or go through Facebook in
They
order
want to
for
make
you to
that
be
money,
able to
man.
put anything on the Quest. They don't want anything side loaded, obviously, because yeah, like you said, you're not
Man,
going to get their 30% if you're
they want
side
that
loading games,
30%.
which
Mhm.
I think sucks because I mean, with side quests, you get so many free games that aren't available yet. I'm still playing constantly Hyperdash, which is still in its alpha phase, but they wouldn't be able to get to the thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers that they have. So that way, when they put in their request to the Oculus store, they would have a large user base already. They wouldn't have this base if they didn't sideload their games, if they didn't make it so that way we can try it and go through the testing grounds for it. So it's really sad to see that they're looking towards blocking that community.
Oh yeah. Oh, and one more really quick one. I had heaps of stuff side loaded, and one day it was just all gone. Has that happened to anybody else? Did Oculus like just make the decision that they were just like deleting all side quests and stuff? Like I
I'm
didn't even know.
assuming
And yeah,
I'm assuming you're talking about after the UI interface. When they updated the UI interface, they moved it.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
no longer like a section that said unknown sources anymore. If you go in
Oh,
to the menu at the top right of the app
yeah,
section, there's an all
yep.
app section. It automatically comes filtered for just the apps that are from the Quest store. But if you click
Yeah.
on the all apps button and scroll down, your unknown sources apps will be at the bottom.
Oh, nice. Thank you. That's really good news. Yep. I thought they'd like done some sort of deal where they just like deleted all the side quest stuff, like because they were
Not
starting to get
yet.
into it. Like,
You
yeah.
still have access to it. It's just moved. But after this new update goes out with what they're talking about, then you would
Yep.
no longer have access to those.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Better
Okay.
go
Cool.
find those games and play them now.
And it's not like, with other devices, you can stop updates and just not update the device. If you don't update your Quest, it's pretty much a paperweight. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, moving on, guys. So a lot of news from Facebook. We'll be talking about that more next week after we've had the Facebook event. I'll jump into streaming real quick before we move on to blockchain. In the streaming news, today was the release of Xbox's xCloud service. I was using their beta service before it was released to Game Pass members only, unfortunately. So for people like me that don't want to pay for Game Pass, you no longer have access to xCloud. You have to go pay for Game Pass in order for you to be able to play any Xbox games in the cloud. I unfortunately did not have a good experience with xCloud. I have a really fast internet connection and I play Google Stadia, and still I just could not get my xCloud to work. It was always laggy. I had several green screens. It was just not a good experience for me. All right,
That
so
all came out on the PlayStation today as well.
What came out?
Splunky 2 came out on the PlayStation 4 today.
I have not heard of that one.
You guys don't remember
Um,
Splunky stuff on the Xbox 360?
I must have missed that game.
Yeah, it was a
All
really
right,
good one. Oldie but a goldie.
Brian, do you have some updates for us in the blockchain gaming space this week?
That I do. I got a couple of articles here. First one is that Binance has acquired over 4,000 plots of land inside the sandbox to use to engage with the community with NFTs and to play and earn with blockchain gaming. So I assume they plan on doing some sort of kind of like Atari, though Atari owns the sandbox, some sort of like promotional advertisement type of, put their logo, have a little area, this is the Binance area, and then depending on what else, they have available in the sandbox at the time, I'm sure they'll develop some sort of like mini game or some sort of token or asset, to go along with it. But I haven't really seen too much of like actual mini games and type of like content to do in the sandbox yet. Just mostly like the jungles and the environments and the plots themselves. So that's definitely got me curious as to what they plan to do. Any of you, either of you, got any ideas on what they may or may not end up thinking of doing in that regards?
I actually saw a interview not too earlier today with Crypto Stash. If anybody's ever heard of him, or if you haven't, really good on talking about different blockchain gaming topics. He had on the developer from Sandbox, and they talked a little bit about the announcement um, from Binance. So I think it's pretty interesting that they're going to be working together. It sounds like they're just going to basically have like a big advertising area.
Ooh, Binance. Ooh. Everyone's kind of like not happy with Binance. Some people who are involved with, with the whole DeFi situation that's going on. But like CB
Expl-
said, if you don't jump into the DeFi, you're gonna get swallowed up by other exchanges. So you got to be on top of the game. Even though a lot of those coins were, I don't want to say shitty projects, but they weren't non-existent. They like it was just quote unquote raising VC funding, but not really. Some of them were just doing nothing, which is a whole scandal behind Sushi Shop. But that's
Sure. Mhm. Something you
I was
want to
gonna say
chime in
that.
on that, Jerome?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that. I know that they have a lot of things going on with like the BNB token and all these swaps and like Uniswap, Moonswap, Salmon Swap, all these damn things.
Salmon
Can you
Swap,
go into
yeah,
explaining
Tron.
all that?
Wait, one more
Yeah,
time. What?
none of
Sorry.
that, like I said, none of that has, was mentioned in the article itself. What it did say, as I mentioned, was that it was going to be to engage the community with NFTs. So my assumption would be they plan on minting some sort of Binance related token to be used in the game, maybe as a collectible, maybe as maybe
Well,
they'll
BNB
do
is
some sort
building a
of,
marketplace.
yeah,
The
like
same
I
way
was saying,
that
like some sort of
Ethereum
marketplace.
and Bitcoin is like, you can do a lot of things with Bitcoin or a lot of things with Ethereum based like tokens. BNB is jumping on that. They're doing it. They're pulling a Tron. So, they're trying to build their brand. Um, so, we're gonna be
Well,
seeing a lot more
4,000
of that.
plots in the sandbox, that's definitely a whole lot of, land, digital land for them to do what they, wish, some creative freedom in there. So, it's kind of like a whole little city. So I'm pretty interested to see how they're gonna kind of carve that out. I know Decentraland has quite a bit of like HTC and other promotional, advertising assets and whatnot items in there when you go around and big screens with advertising and big statues and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe they'll go for full marketing. Maybe they'll go for more of like game integration. Uh, that we'll just have to wait and find out. In some other news,
So,
though, Zero X
question.
Games. Yeah.
Hey
Sorry, you're
Brian, so
saying?
question with Sandbox. How popular, like for people who are wanting to go see like, the land? Like, how popular is it? Like, do a lot of people go and like check it out, or is it just
As far as
meh?
I'm aware right now, all they have is like the alpha world builder for those that got in like during some of the pre-sales and got some tiles. I
Right.
haven't actually heard anything about being able to go in and check out any of the lands yet or the platform itself besides the world builder. So I do know that quite a few people are interested. It is one of the more hyped up blockchain games now. It does have, Atari and now Binance and some pretty big people associated with it company wise. So that's definitely going to bring in quite a bit of traction on its own. But as far as
Okay.
I'm
I mean,
aware,
I'm
pretty
just
much just,
I'm just
any other
wondering because,
blockchain
like,
game.
a lot of this property is really expensive. Like, they pay a pretty penny for these digital, pieces of land. Um, and it's like, for me, in my opinion, like when they're like investing into, depending how the game, plots out, but like, I don't know, from a business perspective, are they really getting a return on their investment, or are they, attracting that crowd that they want? That's just my only thing. Because like you said, it's still in its alpha, stages, and they're building on it. But I don't know, just a thought. Just we'll
Yeah,
wait and see what
definitely.
happens.
Their pre-sale, they have another one going on starting today actually. So with a 10% discount on the public, land price. So, they're still selling the plots. People can still go
How
and
much are
pick
they
one
going
up.
for now?
As far as actual price, I have no idea. Probably somewhere around like half in Ethereum upwards. Probably getting pretty expensive
So like
as the
starting at
discount
two
price
hundred
gets
dollars
lower.
for like virtual land and
I
up.
could be
Yeah,
wrong. I
I
could
was
be
just going to
completely
say
wrong with it.
point 0.5 ETH is not a little amount of ETH. That's a lot.
However, I
You
know
know,
the pre-sales have been going on for quite a while, especially with some of these bigger companies taking up, similar to the Decentraland, issue, the, big giant AAA companies come in and buy thousands and then either sell them on like, another marketplace or it just raises the value of the ones that are left by a significant portion.
And
hmm.
how's like gas fees looking when you're talking about, point 0.5 ETH transfer? I'm sure
Like I
gas
said,
fees are
I
still
haven't
ridiculous.
gone to actually buy
Yeah,
any
that's
Yeah.
quite yet.
that's a little intricate. I wouldn't know that one either. But anyways, what other topics do you have regarding blockchain games? I actually spoke to Agri from Switzerland this on yesterday. Basically, Cornerstone on the blockchain. It's a card game, and when you fight, an opponent online, you basically accumulate cryptocurrency, so on and so forth. And I didn't know that they were like the number one game, like hands down, like overall, for blockchain gaming. I was actually like really like shocked because they've came such a long way. So found that out the other day, and they're planning on possibly having a virtual conference, a virtual gaming conference next month. So that's going to be pretty cool. A lot of gamers, they partnered up with Ubisoft to run some of their portion of the game on their engine. So I don't know, pretty cool stuff is happening. I'm excited for the expansion of gaming into the blockchain space because it does make sense to earn while you play. So
Yeah, it's definitely quite a popular game. I know I talked to them during Run for the Unicorns a few weeks ago, and yeah, they're doing quite well on the Hive blockchain right now. So good for them. As far as some other articles, as I was mentioning earlier, Zero X Games, the blockchain-based company that's been around for the past, I want to say 3 years, maybe a little bit over, is officially shutting down. So a few of their titles were Zero X Universe, Zero X Warriors, and then they had Zero X Racers, mostly due to lack of funding from investors. So they had one big investor at the beginning that was really trying to push the integration of blockchain in the games, thinking that as time went on, the masses were going to, pour into it and it was really going to take off. Now here we are, 3 years later. This was back when, like end of 2017, beginning of 2018, these titles first started coming out on their platform. So they've been trying for quite a while. So their investors are, starting to pull out. They're realizing that, hey, there's still only a drop in the bucket of players, playing crypto games as opposed to the entire gaming ecosystem, as well as the fact that they've been based on Ethereum the entire time. So right now, amidst all this chaos, we have these ridiculous, ludicrous Ethereum gas prices, which pretty much makes their marketplace, null and void at the moment. Which for a lot of these crypto games is the entire, point of them, why they're on the blockchain, what you can do with them, is buying, selling, and trading these assets, through the Ethereum blockchain. So now that you have to spend like 5 times the price of the asset just to trade it, kind of, like I said, makes it null and void, not even worth playing for the most part. So
I
unfortunately,
agree.
they are now shutting down. They tried looking on a few others, EOS, no support. I think they even tried Tron, no support. And yeah, so just over the past few years of trying to get it up and running and getting a sustainable amount of active users to play it just didn't work out for them. So that's a real shame. I've been, checking out those games for pretty much since they first started. Really great blockchain-based company, and I'm terribly sad to see them go. I know I've seen, like as the market probably entails, like 90% of crypto games that have tried to launch end up closing down within like a year of being released. I could go through countless dozens of titles that are no longer available, some of which were actually really fun. So, as far as this whole scalability and Ethereum 2.0 goes, if you talk to pretty much any of these big blockchain companies, especially those that are running on Ethereum, they will definitely agree something needs to change, and we definitely need this push towards mass adoption and scalability for people to really jump on and start using this as real alternative to just standard gaming.
Yeah, guys, it's not easy to create an entire new ecosystem. It's definitely a challenge, and there's going to be a lot of people that make the right moves and stay afloat, and there's going to be people that make, the wrong moves and end up closing their business and being a part of the 90% that's closed. So, it's really up to the developers and how they build their games. If they're aiming for simplicity, making it as simple as possible for the end user to be able to just get in the game and play the game and worry about the transfer of assets later. As well as the most important thing is making sure that you're having fun while playing this game. So really going to be interesting to see as this economy evolves and changes over time. But the games that I definitely say are here to stay and are on their way that I believe are really going to change up the space in the game, the likes of Splinterlands, and I think it's going to be interesting when we get Satoshi Games their Light Night to come out. So we'll see what happens, and I'm excited to see which blockchain games are really going to give users true ownership and over their assets. But also, like when these games are shutting down, that's one of the things that's supposed to be great about blockchain gaming is that I own my assets and that the games are open source. So if the game shuts down, someone else should be able to recreate that game, and that doesn't typically happen right now with the games that we have in the space at this moment. So I want to move on and bring up the next big game that was rumored and announced today. We got a game on um the light
Litecoin blockchain,
coin.
right?
Yeah, the
Lightbringer.
light. Yes, let's go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked interesting, as because I know you skimmed through the article as well, so you know a decent bit of the information. It's pretty much, kind of, I don't know. It reminds me of how Ethereum games were a couple years ago, where it was like every single transaction is on the blockchain, and you have to like put in a transaction and wait for it to get accepted and whatever for it to, go through. However, it is on the Litecoin blockchain, which is a first for me. This is the only crypto game that I've known to be on the Litecoin blockchain, as well as the fact that it's apparently already live. I did take a look at the trailer, and I will say it did look a little bit disappointing as far as, the graphics image that it gives, and being a RPG. It talks about leveling up your characters and your items, and then going on adventures. However, I didn't see any actual gameplay, no characters to actually run around with and control. It seemed more of like a strategy-based game, mostly, text-filled and image-based than real 3D motions and movements, which is quite a bit of a shame. However, with it being on the Litecoin blockchain, they do talk about scalability differences and the fact that it should be near free, pretty much non-existent fees for the transactions, which is good for if every attack, every mission, every movement, every upgrade is going to be on the blockchain. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on the game, or I don't know if either of you have a Litecoin wallet or hold any Litecoin, interested in checking it out.
I'm interested in checking it out, but like you said, it didn't really look like a 3D game. It looked more like a 2D text-based game. I don't get any, vibes that there's a lot of effort and funds that were put into developing this game. It looked like it was something where they kind of just was like, hey, how can we create an in-game economy and really show people how blockchain gaming should work? And this was kind of, I guess, the first trial or demo that they came up with. I think it's good. I want to see more blockchain platforms with games, and I want to see more effort into these games and more games that are fun. So I'm willing to, give it a try, check it out, check out some reviews and see, what this game's all about. I've never heard of the company that made it, but I'm gonna do my research and I'll have more for you guys on next week's podcast. Um, Moving on to the last segment that we typically talk about on our podcast would be console gaming, and we are getting closer and closer to the Xbox Series X. We just got to see the Xbox Series S. Have you guys seen that new little white box that's been coming out next to the Xbox?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting considering, the Xbox One S and the fact that I don't think 500, which is apparently the starting price for, what is it, the 1 terabyte Xbox One X?
Yeah, that's not a bad
So,
price.
I mean, I think if you're really going for something, like maybe you just have very limited amount of room to place the console, or maybe you just really don't care about the super high-end graphics and you just want access to the newer games. Because I do know that it's going to be a $200 difference. The Series S is going to be 300, as well as no optical drive, so it's going to be all digital. And yeah, it was like 1440p, non 4K, which is mostly obviously the Xbox One X, this big tower, PC looking, rectangular type of device. It's very big, very, it's like what I say, like 2.5, at least a good couple times bigger than the Series S. So I think for a few select people, it's definitely going to be the choice maybe for like parents getting their kids like a new something for, Christmas or whatever, and they don't want to spend the full price on the Series X, but they still want to get them, the new console, or like I said, someone just looking on a budget. But I think the vast majority of people that are at least Xbox users are going to be going for the X, just because, like I said, 500, what, the Xbox One and PS4, weren't they 400, I believe? Between 4 and 500 when they first came out, so surprisingly cheaper than what most people were assuming for the price. I know there was speculation on like 6, 7, even $800 for these consoles when they came out. So, having it be 500 for the high end one and 300 for the low end one, I definitely think that's quite affordable as far as what we've been promised for performance and the hype around these consoles.
Yeah, I get you, man. I am excited to see how many people jump on the S versus the X, as well as how many people jump on the digital version of the PlayStation versus the physical disc PlayStation 5. But honestly, guys, if you're like me and you don't really care all too much about the exclusives, you just want to be able to play the games that that you want to play. I personally have left the console industry. I got my Xbox One and I got my PS4, and I just don't care to go drop $500 on either one of these consoles right now. I'd rather get an Oculus Quest and Google Stadia and call it a day. But for your buck, five
I
hundred
definitely
dollars.
agree. However, there are quite a few, console fanboys out there. People still dedicated to that console life. They don't want, I mean, the Google Stadia is one thing. However, that is more of like streaming. So there are quite a few people I know that don't have quite the Wi-Fi, internet bandwidth to be able to support Stadia, but they also don't want all the extras that a PC, inquires, with the files and downloads and the browsers and, they just want to be able to turn it on, put in their disk or just click on the game, have it
Which
launch
I
up
I
and just,
think is a horrible experience nowadays. So I got Marvel Avengers I've been talking about in here, and I've been playing that on Google Stadia. I heard that that game is a 89 gigabyte download just for the game. So if you're getting the digital version, you have to wait for that. Then on the day that the game came out, people had to wait 18 gigabytes for the update patch, which is just typical for everybody that's downloading games on their Xbox or PlayStation nowadays. And I think it's ridiculous. Why are you subjecting yourself to that? It's like watching paint dry. Whereas when you get Google Stadia, you just click play and you get to play it. The second the game came out, I got access to it.
I definitely agree. I currently only have the Xbox One S. I sold off all my others quite a while ago because obviously I use PC primarily, but every pretty much every single time I go and play it, whether it's Apex or Call of Duty or whatever I have downloaded on Xbox, at least like 60% of the time, because I don't play on a daily basis. I go on and I'm like, all right, I finally have a spare hour to play. I can finally get on and join my friends, and then I go and click on it, and it tells me I have a 45 gig update, and then it's like, all right, well, there goes pretty much my entire time, because I'm not going to go and connect the Ethernet cable to it so I get that, high bandwidth, because I already have it plugged in my computer, and that's just way too much trouble for me. And then, bam, it's like that entire hour is going to be spent updating the game, and then by the time it's ready to play, I don't have any time to play it anymore. And then I might as well just switch back over to Steam, where I can just have it, update while I'm, using Chrome, watching YouTube, or doing whatever else, or even, better yet, like you said, Stadia. If you have the Wi-Fi and the bandwidth and the access to.
Which nowadays it's getting easier and easier for more and more people to be able to access that bandwidth and that connectivity, especially during COVID. A lot more people have been upgrading the internet speeds, and it's been getting more and more affordable across the country. So glad to see that COVID had some positives in the long run. More connectivity is better for all of us as a nation. I think we've talked about a lot of great topics today, from blockchain gaming to VR gaming to console gaming. There's so much going on in this space, so many announcements that are out there. It's been a pleasure talking and discussing with this together with you guys. And till next week, when we reconvene, please join us for tomorrow. We will have story game Wednesday, gonna play some Iron Man VR. Thursday, Drunk Crypto stream. On Friday, we have VR game night. Come join us, play some games together in VR. And on Saturday, I'm gonna have a crypto chat with Eugene. Uh, Another person in the crypto space that I think is interesting, and we're going to have a great chat sponsored by the uh, Pittsburgh Blockchain in the Berg team. So, Annalise, any any last statements or comments, Annalise?
No, I think we're good here. Thank you for tuning in to this Tuesday's Futurist podcast, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week.